Good evening, Canby. Welcome to the August 19th, 2015 City Council regular meeting. If you'll please stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Dear Father in heaven, we thank you so much for the privilege of being up here tonight and participating in this city's governance. I ask for your wisdom and your discernment in knowing how to govern, your courage in doing the right thing, and I ask for your protection and blessing over our fair city, and especially over the fair and the rodeo during this season. May it be a blessing for everyone, and may everyone, every guest and every participant be safe. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please proceed. We'll start the evening. Any communications to start with?
I do not have anything.
Okay, Joe, nothing. All right. Our first opportunity for citizen input. So if you've got a fancy, lovely yellow card and want to come talk to us and tell us what's on your mind, please feel free. We have tonight Dean Searle. Thank you, sir. You are up, sir.
All right, sir.
Welcome.
Welcome back. Good to be back. Initially, I came in here in June, on June 3rd, to try and get implementation made available for some of the people that were cancer patients, et cetera, for the use of medical marijuana. I was asked at that point if I was asking to become a dispensary, and at that point I told you utterly and absolutely, adamantly no. Didn't want the responsibility. However, in watching some of the things that are occurring and some of the conversations that are ensuing amongst different retailers and different people here in our local area, I'm hearing a lot more concern about revenue from it than I'm hearing anything about the benefit of the people that are going to have to be taking medical marijuana, which usually are receiving cancer treatment. My wife's a two-time survivor, so I've been down it. Money gets tight, you know, and I think that our focus needs to be to have a dispensary where we're going to be in a situation where the people are in mind much more so than the revenue involved that can come from it or stem from it. As a result, I am kind of acquiescing completely from where I stood with you before. Still don't know how much I enjoy the responsibility that's going to come with it, but I think that it's necessary. And if we can formulate something in order to benefit the people here in our local area, I'm willing to go with it if you are. So I'm basically asking for your permission to try and get this together and apply it through OLCC and get all the licensing, all the bookworks together, and everything that's going to take in order to do this. Other than that, as you can see from what I passed out, we've already made the adjustments that we need to make, other than the security cameras and that type of thing that are going to be there. I've already got a system already installed. I'm just trying to help. And I think we need to make it as affordable a product as we can, because it is being used as a medical alternative, you know, not somebody trying to facilitate altering their mind. And so I'm trying to do what I can do to help that. If you're willing to work with me, I'm willing to do it.
Okay, Dean, thank you. We appreciate the written proposal piece. Something, I mean, currently right now in our city, you know, we do have, we had put in place kind of the moratorium on the dispensaries here within city limits. And right now, where we still have that as a business license piece, not to issue a business license to businesses that are not or involved in selling products that are still a federally not allowable pieces. Am I covering that correctly, Joe? Thank you. We do have scheduled coming up a work session as a council to discuss the upcoming changes, you know, with it being now legal here in Oregon. What does that mean for us as a city, us as a council, from a policy standpoint, and the things that we need to look at and talk about? We are going to be doing that work session coming up here after our based on conversation, October
7th.
Yeah, so on October 7th. We'll be having that work session. So that is open. You know, our work sessions are public meetings, and you can come and, you know, be involved and hear that conversation. We're getting, Joe, if I'm just correct me if I'm wrong, but it's basically just an update basically on Oregon law, what's going on, what's being implemented, and its impact
And
on
possible
us.
next steps for you,
Okay.
depending on what your policy wants to be.
Okay.
You know, whether
So-
you want to refer things to voters or et cetera, et
Gotcha.
cetera, so.
Okay. So this is kind of, I mean, it is timely in that this is a, our last meeting we had a business gentleman who's a medical marijuana dispensary owner, and is in the process of wanting to open one in Canby as well, approach us about our current ordinance or how we've got our business licensing phrased. So we've extended him the same, piece that we are going to be doing a work session here to, as our city attorney has said, kind of talking about that. So we'll definitely hang on to this and use this as a resource for that meeting, and would definitely invite you to that, to come to that, Dean.
I'd love to attend, and I thank you. I'm not trying to create a conflict, though. I'm just trying to help. There has to be an answer where somebody has people in mind, not their dollar or their pocketbook. It can't be that. There are regulations you're going to have to follow, but you need to work and make it an affordable. Most of these people are on Social Security, disability, retirement pensions. You need to look at it from that standpoint. We bear a responsibility as people to try and do that. So that's what I'm trying to formulate, if it helps.
Yeah, I would just reiterate one point, and that is that because the distribution of marijuana is still a violation of federal law, that a business license in the city of Canby can't be issued for that type of business. So at this stage, based on the fact that we won't issue a business license for a business that is doing something that's in violation of federal law, that at this point, we just don't have dispensaries in the city of Canby.
No, I agree. I certainly understand that. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Mayor,
Hang on, Dean.
Mr. Searle, I'm glad you joined us. I think this is a topic that our community needs to engage the council with, and glad to have you on board about it. And I'll ask our attorney, as I understand the way if I understood you correctly about revenues and that sort of thing, of not letting governments eager for a new revenue stream influence their policy making. Fortunately, we have that out of the mix, because at least initially for the first year, or maybe 3, the state distribution will not be contingent upon whether a community does or does not have a dispensary. So the discussion within this community will be what, how, and if. And so that'll begin in October, and that'll be held in our other meeting room, because it's not quite as, our study sessions aren't quite as scintillating as these up here. But please join us, because you do have something to offer, and we'd like to hear it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'll be there.
Thanks, Dean.
So scintillating otherwise.
Right. Yeah, this is prime time.
All right. Any other citizen input or announcements at all? No? Okay. Mayor's business, I don't have much. Attended the C4 meeting last week. A couple of interesting pieces on just the C4 retreat recap. We went over some Clackamas County land use pieces, and an interesting proposal by State Representative, I'm drawing a blank on her name.
Julie Parrish.
Thank you. Julie Parrish, regarding possible use of available lands for hardwood old growth trees as a revenue source. And so I'll have information that I'll get out to you guys to read. It was kind of an interesting conversation, and Councilor Hensley had a possible idea on how to make it maybe something worthwhile for Canby. So I'll be bringing that forward. Kim, can you, for April of this wonderful next year, put a reminder in our calendar for maybe summer vacation requests from the council, so that we can make sure we're not loading heavy topics on when we can't have a full council, and that way we can have an advance notice so that we're not trying to jockey heavy topics, and we can just set the agenda and go with it. Cool, and I can, well, help me remind the council to plan their vacations for summer so that we can agenda well. Perfect.
Agenda well.
Yes.
Schedule your vacations on the second and third week of each month.
No, you can schedule them anytime. I just want to make sure that we're not,
Don't load the agenda.
putting things like, marijuana and public housing on things when people aren't going to be around. So, like to have.
You're a wise leader.
Well, every day a little bit better than the day before. Last thing that I have is August 31st is a reminder, everyone, that we will have our official groundbreaking for the Civic Building and Library. So come on down and see us, and hopefully I think we're going to have hard hats and gold shovels, or shovels of some kind.
Well, they'll be black, but yes.
Black, perfect.
Or maybe they're red.
Get some spray foam.
They're in the other room anyway.
All right, perfect. And we'll go into liaison reports. We're going to start here at the other end of the table with Clint.
Well, thank you, sir. First of all, I attended the chamber lunch at the fairgrounds, which is a lot of fun. It always kicks off the fair and rodeo time. Last night was the first official day of the fair and rodeo. It was Children's Day, and went really well, even though with all this heat, there was about 75% of the stands were filled at rodeo time. Today's Senior Day. It's Cancer Awareness Day, and so we're required to wear pink over there.
And you look good in pink there,
Oh,
Clint.
thank you, sir. Tomorrow is Clackamas County Day, so the Board of Commissioners will be on the main lawn from 10 to 11:30. Friday will be First Responders Day. Police, fire, paramedics, veterans, and armed service members in uniform or with service identification get in free. Saturday is Salute Agriculture, sponsored by OVS. There's a junior livestock auction, and Miss Rodeo Oregon will be there. Sunday is Fred Meyer Family Day. They have the Star Rentals Demolition Derby. And let's see, that completes my fair report. On Monday, we have a Planning Commission meeting. And then don't forget, a week from this weekend is our Canby Big Weekend. And on Friday is that street dance. And on Saturday is a big car show. So a lot going on.
Perfect.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Council President Dale.
Mr. Mayor, I likewise have been attending and working at the fair and the rodeo. It's just a lot of fun to be there and see everybody coming in from out of town. Got to meet some folks from quite a distance away that come to our town to enjoy it. And even in the heat, everybody seemed to be having a good time. A shameless brag on my daughter. My youngest daughter pulled 10 ribbons, 7 of them first places. So happy there. Yeah, awesome. 3 of those in photography. So she's a smiling girl. And on the Canby utility front, they have received their engineering report for the water taste and smell issues, and they've got it under advisement and are studying it. So stay tuned for more from Canby Utility on that. In the meanwhile, as you saw in the Canby Herald, Canby's water supply is very, very safe, and there's plenty of water. And the board chairman wouldn't mind if I said, buy lots of it. Sprinkle water. Sprinkle your lawns, yes. Revenue's good. So that's
Frank has a
the...
lot of lemons.
Pardon?
Frank has a lot of lemons.
Has a lot of lemons. Make a lot of
Just
lemonade. There you go.
Very good. That's awesome.
So that concludes my report.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I likewise attended the chamber luncheon at the fairgrounds and walked in the Kitty Caper Parade to start off the fair yesterday with 6 kids in tow, 2 of my own, 2 grandkids, and two spares, I'll say. It was a good time, even in the heat. We had a little blister issue at the new boots, but she's home healing. But we had a good time at the Fair and Rodeo. I'm likewise working it every day this week, and I enjoy every minute of it. I even enjoy the heat. Some people think I'm a little nuts there, but correct me if I'm wrong. Clackamas County Day is tomorrow, and the Clackamas County Commissioners will be there on the main lawn, but they're actually having their business meeting at 10 a.m. And
You're right, yes.
I was told that if you arrive before 10 a.m. to attend that business meeting, you actually get free fair admission. Is that correct?
I don't know.
That is the widespread rumor.
That is what I'm
that everybody's been
hearing.
saying.
So
Yeah.
you can go, check out those commissioners' meeting and then get into the fair. And I also attended the C4 meeting, and Senator Merkley had a town hall this last week I attended in Wilsonville. Liaison Traffic Safety Commission isn't having an August meeting, so we'll have a report in September. And just another reminder, Canby's big night out, 5 o'clock, Friday the 28th, big street dance down here on 2nd and Grant. It's going to be a good time, kicking off the big weekend. That's all I have.
Perfect. Thank you. Councilor Parker.
I was also able to attend the Chamber of Commerce luncheon, the annual event out at the fairgrounds, and it's always a great opportunity. I like events that are outside, so that was a good time. Kind of helped a few families get ready for the Kitty Keeper parade. It queues up right outside my house, so that was fun watching folks rehearse. Was pulling heavy duty here this week, talking to a potential brew pub investor in town. Somebody has to do it, but anyway, we do have some interest in that, and our staff will be working on that. I just added my expression that the city is a good place to do business, and that businesses are welcome here. So, also, I was doing a little bit of investigative work about splash parks. Went out to Wilsonville to take a look at their splash park during one of their community events, and people love it. And I was talking to them about the liability, and there's never been a problem, and it's something that I'd like us to keep alive within our discussions in the next few years as something that we look for in enhancing the good life that's Canby.
Perfect. Agree on all those. Thank you, sir.
May I add something?
Sure.
I'm sorry I didn't tell Councilor Dale, but Canby Utility is having its 45th anniversary celebration on Friday the 28th from 12:30 to 3 o'clock. We'll have hamburgers, hot dogs, displays, things for people to do, things related to electric and water to see, and we'll have a roulette wheel to spin, and pick the duck out of a duck pond type thing, multiple prizes. So there'll be things for everybody to do there. But it is our 45th anniversary.
And you've done that before, isn't it, right here in the parking lot?
Right here.
Right
in our
here?
parking lot.
Okay.
And that was 12 to 3 or 12:30 to?
12:30 to 3
Okay. So
in the afternoon.
So come down here and then go to the street dance.
there you go. So Canby Utilities 45th anniversary barbecue party, August 28th, 12:30 to 3. Come get some burgers and spin the roulette wheel.
Yep.
Perfect.
And then stick around for the...
And then go to the street party. All right. Thank you, sir. You were mentioning the distance that people were coming from. One of the riders last night, she came all the way from Alabama to ride in Canby's rodeo last night. So nice. And she did well. Very good. Yeah, gave the local girls a run for their money. So
The
it was
Bulls
good.
won last night.
Only we had a transient room tax to capture some of that.
Moving on to the next agenda item.
It's just once a year.
Really?
I'm down to once a year.
Once?
All right, so we'll move into the consent agenda for tonight.
Mr. Mayor, I move for approval of the minutes of the August 5th, 2015 City Council work session and regular meeting.
I'll second.
Councilor Dale has motioned and Councilor Hensley has seconded to approve the consent agenda, which includes the approval of the minutes of the August 5th, 2015 City Council work session and regular meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? 4 of you tonight. That passes 4-0. Great. Next on the agenda is the public hearing. So tonight we have a public hearing on amending the master fee schedule that we adopted on May 20th, 2015 regarding the fees for SDC transportation and planning fees. So we'll read the public hearing format this evening. The matter presently before the hearing body requires a public hearing. All interested persons in attendance shall be heard on the matter. If you wish to testify on this matter, please fill out a yellow comment card and give it to the city recorder. At the appropriate time, please step forward to the microphone, state your name and interest in the matter. Those people that are interested in testifying as either proponents or opponents, please indicate your desire to speak by raising your hands at this time. All right, seeing none. For longer presentations, proponents and opponents may buy time from one another. In so doing, those either in favor or opposed may allocate their time to a spokesperson who will represent the entire group. All questions must be directed through me, the mayor. Any evidence to be considered must be submitted to the hearing body for public access. All written testimony received both for and against shall be summarized by staff and presented briefly to the hearing body during the staff report. The public hearing will be conducted as follows. There will be staff report, questions, if any, by the hearing body or staff. I will open the public hearing for testimony. Proponents and opponents will have not more than 3 minutes. We'll close the public hearing. Questions, if any, by the hearing body. Discussion by the hearing body. Any decision shall be made by the hearing body at the close of the hearing, or the matter will be continued to a date certain in the future. This will be the only notice of the date that you will receive. Does anyone have any questions about the procedure of the hearing? Great. Staff report. Hello, Mr. Brown. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well.
Good. What do you have for us tonight?
So this is a rather straightforward and simple amendment to our latest master fee schedule. As you said, it was changed and adopted in May of this year and went into effect July 1st. And since using it from July 1st on a daily basis, discovered one error that was in it, and that error had actually been carried over for 2 master fee schedules, and it didn't come to light until we tried to apply a system development charge to a new fuel station that you might be familiar with that's going into town. And what happened is a decimal number had gotten dropped off in transferring from the SDC methodology into the fee schedule, so 2 years or so ago, and didn't notice it until now, and so that makes a big difference between hundreds versus thousands of dollars. And so we're correcting that error and also updating the changes we've made since 2 years ago in inflation-adjusted fee schedule. And so you can see that change reflected in this proposed new fee schedule amendment. Then there were 2 other minor things that don't really change fees in any way. They're clarifications. One of them has to do with striking the word building from a fairly new fee that we've instituted that's a private on-site engineering plan review fee, and it was not intended to include buildings. So just through a mistake, we put the word building in the description, since we've used to do buildings too, I guess. Since we don't review buildings, the intent of this is to review a site plan and all of the construction activity that is associated with the site, but except the building. And so we don't want to double charge people for review of something that we're not even reviewing. And so that was actually happening from developers as they kept questioning and calculating the fee. And then I said, no, it doesn't include the building. So this is a clarification so that they won't be making those errors or asking us those questions anymore. And it does actually lower the fee considerably, since they were including the building cost on some of the times when they would ask and wondering about that. The other fee is a nominal fee that we charge, and it's not proposing to be changed, but one of the primary reasons we instituted that fee was to have a very nominal fee for tenant remodels, things that don't include additions, and we meant it to apply to residential and commercial, and we left the word residential off by mistake. And so we've been actually implementing it as it's being proposed ever since July 1st, when we noticed we'd forgotten to do that. So we're recommending that you approve these amendments, though that it will correct and improve the master fee schedule as we believe that it ought to be.
So did we run into any problems with said filling station and whatnot with?
No, they have not paid their fees, so if we get this in place, then they will be subject to the correct fee.
Okay. And then with you said the omission of the residential piece, has
So
there been?
we're actually adding the
Adding
word
that.
residential to this one.
Okay. And that was there originally, and we just, somehow it's been,
Yeah,
Omitted.
it wasn't placed in May when we added that fee,
okay,
because it was a new fee in May.
okay,
And it was a lowering of fees, making a new category that would be less expensive, because there's not a lot that we need to look at for tenant remodels. Because
Okay.
again, that's a building issue.
gotcha. All right, great, thank you for that. Any other questions at all for Mr. Brown? Okay, thank you, sir.
Sure.
I will officially open up the public hearing and for testimony. Any proponents or opponents on us changing fee schedule? No? All right. I'll close the public hearing. Any questions at all or comments? Okay. All right. That concludes our public hearing this evening on the matter. Great. Thank you, Brian. Kim, resolutions and ordinances.
The first item we have is the resolution that goes with the public hearing. It's Resolution 1223. This is amending the master fee schedule adopted on May 20th, 2015 regarding fees for SDC transportation and planning fees.
Great. Thank you, Kim. Any questions at all? Or if not, I'll take a motion, please.
Mr. Mayor, I recommend we adopt resolution number 1223, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Canby, Oregon, amending the master fee schedule adopted on May 20th, 2015 regarding fees for SDC transportation and planning fees.
Thank you, sir. Second. Okay, motion's been made by Councilor Coleman and seconded by Councilor Hensley to approve Resolution 1223, amending the master fee schedule adopted on May 20, 2015 regarding fees for STC transportation and planning fees. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carries 4-0.
The next item we have is Resolution 1224. This is codifying and compiling certain existing general ordinances for the City of Canby. And this is a resolution I bring to you every year. It's a housekeeping resolution, and it's just to codify the ordinances that have been passed over the year that affect the Canby Municipal Code.
Great. Anybody have any questions or comments for staff on this one?
No, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt Resolution 1224, a resolution codifying and compiling certain existing general ordinances for the City of Canby.
Thank you. There's only 4 of you. I need a
Second that.
Thank you. All right, motion's been made by Councilor Hensley, seconded by Councilor Coleman to approve Resolution 1224, codifying and complying certain existing general ordinances for the City of Canby. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carries 4-0.
The next item is Resolution 1225. This is authorizing a transfer of appropriations from contingency to capital outlay in the Swim Center Levy Fund.
Hello. The Swim Center is requesting that we transfer $7,500 from contingency to the capital outlay program. We budget very tightly in this fund, and they do a great job on their improvements every year. There was one improvement which was budgeted last year but didn't actually get incurred until July. And then when they got their estimate for the deck improvements that they're going to be doing when they close the pool in September, it came in a little bit higher than they expected. So to stay in compliance with local budget law, we need to enact this increase so that they can complete those repairs during that closure in September.
Okay. Thank you, Haley. Any comments, questions? Okay. Thank
Mr.
you.
Mayor, I move we adopt Resolution 1225, a resolution authorizing transfer of appropriations from contingency to capital outlay in the Swim Center levy fund.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion has been made by Counselor Hensley, second by Counselor Coleman to approve Resolution 1225, authorizing transfer of appropriations from contingency to capital outlay in the Swim Center levy fund. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carries 4-0.
The next item we have is ordinance 1420. This is before you for second reading. This is authorizing a contract with Curran McLeod, Inc., consulting engineers for engineering services regarding the 2015-2016 wastewater treatment plant improvements.
Great, thank you, Kim.
This is a second reading. The nature of the improvements for the 15-16 fiscal year will address sludge handling processes at our wastewater treatment facility. And as Dave Connor and his staff continue to do, will make our facility even more efficient than it already is.
Great, thank you, Rick. Any comments, questions on this? We said it's second reading tonight on that. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I move for ordinance number 1420, an ordinance authorizing the city of Canby to enter into a contract with Curran McLeod, Inc., consulting engineers for engineering services regarding the 2015-16 wastewater treatment plant improvements and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Motion's been made by Counselor Dale, second by Counselor Hensley to approve ordinance 1420, an ordinance authorizing the city of Canby to enter into a contract with Curran McLeod, Inc., consulting engineers for engineering services regarding 2015-2016 wastewater treatment plant improvements and declaring an emergency. All those in favor?
Roll call.
Oh, I even have that written down.
Counselor Parker?
Aye.
Counselor Hensley?
Aye.
Counselor Dale?
Aye.
Counselor Coleman?
Aye.
Thank you. That passes 4-0.
The next item we have is ordinance 1421. This is authorizing the purchase of an AL 120-EZ airless slide-in striper from Easy Liner and declaring an emergency.
I'd first like to note that the emergency declaration that I'm proposing as part of this action is to provide the city the opportunity to save about $7,000 on the purchase price. We're up against a price increase for the particular product that was a low proposal, and absent that emergency declaration, we would not have been able to complete the acquisition in a timely fashion. We're actually pretty, I know that an AL 120 EZ airless slide-in striper does not sound particularly exciting, but our public works staff is very excited about it. We spend between $25,000 and $30,000 a year striping, contracting for striping of our streets, and in doing that, we also have to assign one of our staff people to work with the striping crew to make sure that the striping is done in a safe environment. This purchase would be $68,000, so we're looking at a return on our investment of about 3 years once we factor in the cost of paint and supplies. And staff recommendation is for approval of this acquisition.
I think it's great, Rick. That's good. Thank you. Any questions at all?
I do have a comment, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
At the National Main Street Conference, the country's leading expert on walkable cities, Jeff Speck, was saying that the easiest, cheapest, and best way to make your city more walkable is to have fresh stripes. That it keeps motorists alert, and it gives people more confidence in walking about their city. And I think, as Tim and I have often said, it's better to own than to rent. So,
And this is actually a striper that will fit in the back of our pickup trucks, and so don't have to have special equipment. They, many, if not most, stripers that you see on the roads usually sit on the back of a flatbed, but this one will slide in and out, carry a 55-gallon drum of paint, and the the sparkly material. In addition to that, a fairly substantial quantity of that. So we're able to do a lot more painting than we have been able to do more efficiently and more cost effectively.
We don't have to wait on county to know.
And we don't have to schedule with county or ODOT.
So how does that, so in the case of like ODOT, and so on something like on 99, we would then end up just taking care of that and doing that?
Well, they'll do 99.
Okay.
ODOT will continue to maintain their own streets, but we would subcontract with their paint crews to do our local streets and would pay them contract rate. Same thing with Clackamas County.
Okay.
So depending on which crews were available.
Gotcha. Great. Thank you, Rick.
Oh, Mr. Mayor, I move to approve Ordinance 1421, an ordinance authorizing a contract between the City of Canby and Easy Liner for the purchase of the AL-120 Easy Airless Slide-In Striper to come up for a second reading on September 16th, 2015.
Great. Thank you.
I'll second.
Motion made by Councilor Coleman, second by Councilor Hensley to approve Ordinance 1421, an ordinance authorizing a contract between the City of Canby and Easy Liner for the purchase of an AL-120 Easy Airless Slide-In Striper to come up for second reading on September 16th, 2015. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carries 4-0. New business this evening is the topic of cancellation of the September 2nd, 2015 City Council meeting. We originally talked about not having it, and then we were going to layer in a couple of work session pieces, and looks like we have people that are, the topics that we're going to talk about, there's just, I think we need to have a full council. And so I think we're talking with Rick today, it would probably just be best if we could find another place in the agenda for those items here coming up probably more into October. So if you guys are, so that's kind of what I would recommend, so we can have everyone there for the conversation. So I'll leave that to you.
I'll try and stay stateside in October.
That's hey. Or just, if you got plans, let me know now so I can work it out with Kim.
So what we would be proposing is we had two work sessions that were scheduled for the second, one for the retail marijuana discussion, the second General Canby Days, and we'd invited the General Canby Days Committee. Just before walking into this meeting, I spoke with Lila Gottman and asked her to make herself available on October 7th. She had indicated she will check with the committee to see if they're available. But we'll go ahead and schedule. And what I'd like to do for efficiency is flip that, and we'll go ahead and do General Canby Days first at 6 p.m. and then do marijuana, if that's okay with Kim and our legal counsel at 6:45. That'll give us just a little more time, I think, for the medical, because I think we can get the first one through a little quicker.
Perfect. Thank you. So it looks like we're, based on that conversation, Kim, we're off on the 2nd then. Cool. Thank you. All right. City Administrator, business and staff reports.
Well, you've actually touched on almost everything I had on my list. I would like to note that Kim is working with me, and I say working with me. Kim is doing all the work necessary to schedule an all committees evening work session, brainstorming session on October 28th, and it would be at the PD community room, starting at 6 p.m. and continuing probably for a couple hours. We'll do a brief program, have some refreshments, and provide an opportunity for committees to give brief reports, and then the most important part will be sharing of information, programs that are ongoing, and then just kind of the meet and greet that will be following the formal part of the presentation. We're anxious to do this. We think it'll be a great program. I'd like to acknowledge Carol Palmer, who specifically asked for this in a meeting that we were in a couple weeks ago, discussing the historical status of our city hall. And so I need to give her credit where credit is due, and we'll get this thing scheduled, because I just think it's a great idea.
It is a great idea. Thank you for doing that.
And what time is that slated for, Rick?
6 p.m.
Thank you.
On what day?
The
28th of October.
28th of October.
Is that a Tuesday or Wednesday? It's a Wednesday night.
It's a Wednesday, fourth Wednesday. We assume we might have the first, second, and third already booked, so.
I just don't plan things on Wednesdays for this
I
reason.
try not to, yeah. They're free. Yeah. All right, perfect. Anything else, Rick?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, second opportunity for citizen input. If anybody wants to come up and provide a 2 cents. No? Action review, Kim.
You have approved the consent agenda. You've adopted Resolution 1223, 1224, 1225, and Ordinance 1420. You've approved Ordinance 1421 to come up for second reading on September 16th, and staff will cancel the September 2nd City Council meeting.
Great, thank you very much. Joe, do we have an executive session this evening?
We do not.
Okay.
Oh, what's it again?
Before I ask for a motion for adjournment, I want to let everyone know that approximately, specifically to the agenda at 8:15, we will have our Urban Renewal Agency special meeting. So we will adjourn, and based on the time, we'll have a couple of minute break and then launch into our Urban Renewal Agency meeting. So don't turn off your TVs and hang in there. So I will move in and take a motion to adjourn, please.
Mayor, I move we adjourn this meeting.
Thank you. And a second then.
I'll second that.
No one wants to leave tonight. All right, motion made by Councilor Hensley and seconded by Councilor Coleman to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Great, that passes 4-0. We'll be back here momentarily, folks. Thanks.
They're all ready.
Welcome to the Canby Urban Renewal Agency special meeting of August 19th, 2015. If it's all right with the commission, I'd like to write our call to order on the previous invocation and flag salute. Is that acceptable? Sure. Thank you. First up, we have citizen input for non-agenda items. So we have any citizens that would like to input tonight? Seeing none, we'll go to community announcements.
All I can say is one that we have announced in an earlier meeting, and that's a groundbreaking coming up on August 31st at 2 p.m. At the location of our new library civic center.
Yeah, very big, very special day.
Very special day.
Look forward to that.
I would also add that we are out to bid now on foundation site work, and expect results of those bids in the first week or so of September.
Very good.
Wow, great.
Great news. Be a good time.
Yeah.
Anything else, Kim, that you had for community announcements? All righty. Next up, we have the consent agenda.
I guess you are here as commission chair. I move to approve the consent agenda, which include the minutes from the June 17th, 2015 Urban Renewal District Agency special meeting.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Vice Chair Hudson, seconded by Commissioner Hensley to approve the consent agenda, which includes the minutes of the June 17th, 2015 URD Agency special meeting. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And it carries 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0. Next up, we have resolutions and ordinances.
The first item you have is URR 15-007. This is a resolution of the Canby Urban Renewal Agency to authorize investments for the Canby Fire District apparatus and building improvements.
All right, we'll turn over to our administrator.
Well, thank you. And before I start, I'll first start by saying I'm excited to bring this to you today. It's a culmination of about 6 or 7 months of work following about 11 years of commitments that have been made to address fire needs, Canby fire needs. Before I go into any detail on this, I would like to take just a moment. Chief Davis is in the audience, and he has several of his board members, and if he wouldn't mind, I'd like you to step up and introduce your board members for us.
You come forward.
Go ahead and let them introduce themselves.
You bet. Come on
So,
forward.
I'd love to introduce myself. I'm board president, Buhner Ellis.
Governor, board secretary.
Alrighty. And we also have in the audience fireman paramedic Matt English. Thanks.
Great to have you.
Thanks for coming tonight.
Yeah, Jim had mentioned he was going to bring staff and board representatives, and great to have all of you here this evening. The matter before you today, I'm excited about because it addresses and meets an obligation that we, as an urban renewal agency, have made to Canby Fire at during the creation of the Urban Renewal Agency, and in response to concerns that Canby Fire District had relative to the effects of the creation of the Urban Renewal Agency on their ability to conduct business in a manner that they thought they should be able to best meet the needs of the community. I've had a wonderful opportunity to meet with Jim on a number of occasions, worked with Haley and Renata on city staff, and developed a plan and proposal that we presented based on Canby Fire's request, which is a reduced request from the original commitment made by the Urban Renewal Agency. The new request is $1,135,000 for the purchase of several different apparatus, fire engine, emergency medical unit, and then the remodel of the fire station, the existing fire station. The original 1999 plan had a $2.75 million earmark, so we're looking at less than half of what had originally been identified. Now, we've already spent some funds over the last several years, and I knew that number, and I just don't see it in front of me. But over the last several years, so we had met $380,000 in commitments to do some improvements to the existing facility, but that is obviously far short of the $2.75 million. In working with Jim and looking at our urban renewal budget, we realized that we just weren't capable of meeting a $1.135 million financial obligation in 1 year. So we worked out a multi-year payment program that we built into the 5-year urban renewal plan that we shared with you during the budget, prior to and during the budget process, to show what we thought our cash flow would be based on the most realistic property tax growth assumptions and the impact of that growth on our ability to meet our urban renewal agency commitments. The result of that analysis and the discussions with Chief Davis was a budget for 2015-16 that included $257,000 as the first of 4 payments to Canby Fire. With years 2, 3, and 4, the payment would be $293,000, the grand total of which $1,135,000, thereby fulfilling our obligation and relative to our commitment to Canby Fire, and recognizing and acknowledging the fact that Canby Fire has really stepped up, identified what its core needs are, and asked us to, as the Urban Renewal Agency, to address only those core needs, and so has cut off over $1 million in what they could have asked us for under the original plan. So staff recommendation to you is to approve the resolution committing urban renewal expenditures on the apparatus and building improvements as presented in staff report.
Jim, did you have anything that you wanted to talk to us tonight about?
No, Rick did a pretty good job covering his report.
Very good. Well, on behalf of the agency, Jim, I just want to thank you so much for working with Rick to come up with a plan that meets your needs but's affordable by the agency without incurring additional debt. That's huge, and we thank you very much for that.
I would like to, first of all, thank you, the Urban Renewal Agency, for working with us, and more importantly, the work that Rick, the city administrator, did in working with the fire district. This was one of the first issues or topics that Rick and I met on, and the partnership was very positive from the very beginning, and the board of directors are in full support of this as well, in that both 2 of the board members are here tonight too. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Chief.
I do have to admit, the first time we sat down and Jim said, I need $1.1 million, I said, you want what?
We could have asked for it all.
Yeah, I know.
You could have said, I want to.
This is really. And for the audience at home, just in summary, there's 3 major items included in the expenditure. We have just over $500,000 to replace a fire engine that's really getting pretty long in the tooth. It goes back to 1999, right? And there's nearly $200,000 to replace an emergency medical unit, what most folks would call an ambulance, right? And then $425,000 for a badly needed remodel and expansion of the main fire station. So it's all going to a really, really good use. And so thank you, Jim. And just as a reminder to the audience, urban renewal is funded by tax increment financing. And that's part of where this agreement goes way back to the advent of the Urban Renewal District, in that urban renewal really does divert operational revenues from the agencies that the district covers. And so why we cannot help the fire district replace money at an operational level, this is a way that we can return some of those funds so they can be used in a capital manner. Is that a fair way of saying that, Rick?
In a manner that benefits the Urban Renewal Agency.
Yes.
And then the lands within the Urban Renewal Agency.
Yeah.
And that's a specific test to determine if it's an appropriate expenditure. We do have a legal opinion that in fact this is appropriate.
Very good. And it is in our urban renewal plan. So, agency, any discussion, comments?
Just a comment. I just, again, Chief, thank you, and the board, thank you for being here. And also, this is a long time coming. I think we've had a couple of conversations as well, Chief, about just the status of vehicles and whatnot, and with the situation with, I think, some of the expansion pieces. We've got water damage at the fire station. We've got accommodation needs that need to be addressed with a crew of men and women. So there's some definite needs there that need to be addressed. And so much like Sergeant said, I'm glad you've done a great job coming in right away and really getting down to core service and what are the needs are right away. So thank you for that. We really do appreciate it.
Well, Mr. Chair, I move we adopt Resolution URR 15-007, a resolution of the Canby Urban Renewal Agency to authorize investments for the Canby Fire District apparatus and building improvements, and direct staff to budget funds and process payment to the fire district to fulfill its urban renewal plan obligation.
And I'd like to second that, please.
It's been moved by Commissioner Hensley, seconded by Commissioner Parker, to adopt Resolution URR 15-007, a resolution of the Canby Urban Renewal Agency to authorize investments for Canby Fire District apparatus and building improvements, and direct staff to budget funds and process payment to the fire district to fulfill its urban renewal plan obligations. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that carries 5-0.
Yeah, I would once again just like to acknowledge Haley Fish for the work that she did putting together the 5-year plan and doing the financial analysis, using a range of assumptions. As we looked at our financing obligations and opportunities in urban renewal, we asked her to continue to change assumptions until we identified one that wasn't the most beneficial, but it was one that we thought had the greatest probability of and likelihood of an outcome. So I really appreciate the work Haley did on this.
Thank you, Haley. We sure appreciate it. And thank you again, Chief and Board, and to the fine men and women of Canby Fire Department. Oh, yeah. Please, come up.
I would just like to officially thank Chair, Vice Chair, all the commissioners and city administrator staff, everyone for the hard work on this. We sincerely appreciate the efforts that have been made on this for us to, move forward with this and be able to, find a win-win in this situation. So thank you very much on behalf of the board and Canby Fire.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. Appreciate it very much. All right. Mr. Administrator, does that conclude our business for the night?
It does.
All right. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Vice Chair Hodson and seconded by Commissioner Hensley to adjourn. It is a non-debatable motion, so all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And it carries 5-0. Good night, Canby. Thank you.
Thank you.